Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Nielsen and Huss back with you once again. And, of course, we got our best bets coming up. If you're just checking out the Lock Shop for the first time this week, you'll notice there's a new look. And we are now on YouTube as well, eventually moving all of our live streams over to YouTube. You still get a ton of video clips, obviously, on Twitter. We're also giving away $1,000 cash to the first 1,000 members who retweet the tweet that's pinned on the Lock Shop Twitter account right now. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can do that as well. We're at about 130 subscribers already, so a nice start yesterday. Let's bump that up, $1,000 cash to one of our first 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, folks, YouTube certainly is the place. We've had such a great time running the YouTube channel with Winnipeg Sports Talk and realized that this was definitely where we needed to get to. We got the $1,000 giveaway, so check out either of our Twitters, Nielsen TSN 1260, Hustlerama, both linked to it, but it's Lock Shop Bets. The link for the YouTube channel is there. Make sure you go in there, press subscribe, get on the sub list. And we're going to keep growing on it. Give away a G-Note to somebody at our first 1,000 subscribers. And by the way, we are working on just getting the notifications clicked out. That is something you are going to want to have on. So you know when the boys are live on the YouTube channel with the latest content from the Lock Shop.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought I fixed that notifications things yesterday. I guess I didn't. So I'll dive back into it today. So we'll have that working for you. Pat Gregoire from Coolbet's going to pop by right away. But first, and then we'll get to our best bets. We got a bunch of picks for you heading into the weekend. But Huss, nice job last night, buddy. I knew I was screwed. I had the Eagles over 29.5, I think it was. And then obviously the Eagles minus 13.5. And when they were up by 12 at 29 points with 8 minutes left, I was like, I'm screwed. I knew it then. I was like, that's it. I know it's still possible, but I had a bad feeling at that point. I only needed 2 more bloody points to make that thing work last night. So well worked. Well done last night, buddy. Very good.
Yeah, thanks. Listen, we talked about it yesterday. It was a really, really tough pick. I mean, with a number like that, I went with the underdog. And hey, you know what? From all accounts, I mean, the Texans played quite well. I was at the hockey game last night, so I was basically just updating scores, and nice to see the Texans go up 7-0, 14-14. You knew Philly would sort of flex at some point, but the Texans hung around enough to cover the number. And of course, Philly going for that 2-pointer did get the over 45.5 too by 0.5 point. So what can I say? It's been a very, very good week. Hopefully we can keep it rolling into the best bets because, all the picks and the wins this week were great, especially the exclusives. But there's nothing like nailing your best bets because Sunday is the day where it really counts.
Very interesting card on Sunday, too, and we're going to get into that. Right now, we've got Pat Gregoire. Find him on Twitter, at @PGreggy. Patty, how are you, buddy? How you doing, man?
Doing good. I was wondering, am I eligible to win this $1,000? Because the way Huss has been cashing bets, I might be out of a job.
I'll just say this. Probably wouldn't look good if we're like, wow, Pat from Coolbet won $1,000 cash. That would not be a good way to kind of get the YouTube channel going, I think.
No, definitely not. I either way, I keep telling Jake, man, we got to ban Huss from exclusives now. I'm sorry, this is not going to work. This is not how this thing works.
I was wondering whether the daily picks were going to be canceled after Wednesday. But listen, everything. I wasn't the only one. We have so much fun talking about the Coolbet exclusives. I mean, yeah, it was the 7-1 around the dial parlay that will be certainly the highlight of the week. But there was the Keefe, the what was it called again?
Earn your Keefe?
Earn your Keefe.
Yeah, earn your Keefe. Matthews a goal, Marner 2 points, and the Leafs win. That cashed. And I jumped on that, the 6 exclusive, Leafs minus 2.5 and Raptors minus 6.5. And that was beautiful. I mean, the Raptors won by 43. So it didn't matter where you were on the exclusive. Shout out to Chris Beck. He's a loyal Lock Shopper and WST listener. I think he sprinkled on all 3 of those that night, and they all came up. So that was awesome. A legendary day. And I did notice the bookies came out with some real interesting ones. Probably a little too late for the ones right today for the because the pucks just dropped as we're doing this overseas for the global series. But the place to be, Coolbet exclusives. It has been very, very good for bettors right now. And hopefully we can keep it going as long as they let us.
No, those will be running through. As you know how betting works, you got the ups and downs, and I'm guilty as well. Patty's pick parlay that cashed on Sunday. Jake and myself, our Saturday sweats for college football has been pretty lucrative as well. So we're to blame as well. But again, what goes around comes around. There's a cold streak coming up with these exclusives soon. So get on them before that happens.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hey, how's the 27 days of football going for the fellas?
Oh boy, the 27 days of football has been a lot of fun, honestly. So if anyone doesn't know or hasn't been following along, basically Jake and myself, we saw that there is over the next 27 days starting, I believe, about a week and a couple of days ago. 27 straight days, there will be at least an NFL, a CFL, college football, or even U Sports. So 27 days. Each day we decided, let's make a pick. Right now, I think we're at 500. We're undefeated in college. We have not hit an NFL bet yet. So I think we're getting too cute with touchdown scorers, team totals, all this jazz. So we're going to get back to basics on Sunday. I think Jake's on tap tonight. I think he's got a college football pick. I'll have a college football pick on Saturday. And then he's going to have a NFL pick on Sunday. So he better be tuning in because both you guys have been red hot in the NFL, especially for your best bet shows.
Well, especially for us. I mean, he's been on absolute fire as of late. Does Jake do anything outside of just sit around and come up with names for exclusives? Like, I feel like he's got like a whiteboard and he's in there all day working on names. Like, that's how I imagine it.
The full creative team.
Yes, he's the always sunny gif with like the strings coming across, and he's trying to think of ideas. No, shout out to him. Shout out to Jaden, who's on our marketing team, and I'll my tires a little bit as well. I've thrown some of those names in there, but no, we're having a lot of fun with this. It's just something that we've talked about. We wanted to do for a little while. Obviously, all the cool bettors, the lock shoppers, they're loving it. I mean, you can see whenever you guys throw it in exclusive. We got lots of tickets on there. So everyone's having fun. And at the end of the day, we're having a lot of fun with it as well. Because that's what this is all about, right? It's entertainment.
Can I just quickly ask something that's not related to any picks or wins or losses? It is Movember, and I'm noticing this duster on your lip right now. Did you actually shave it down on November 1st? And like, this is where you're at?
There's no way he grew that in 4 days. There's no way.
No, I'll be honest. I may have had a little bit of a head start. I didn't go full clean shave. I can't tell you the last time I went full clean shave. It's been a long, long time. Maybe we're talking college days or for a job interview shortly thereafter. But haven't been clean shaven outside of maybe right here. But yeah, the duster stayed.
Are you going to take it down? Are you going to take it down like Fu Manchu? Or
I was thinking about it. I've done the Wendell Clark, not the full handlebars, just kind of get down to there before. I'll be honest. I was trying to shape up the handlebars. I kind of messed up a little bit. And then I was like, well, I got to go full duster now. I kind of shit the bed there. So
it's a good look. Like I mean, Huss, do you do any facial hair ever? Like you've all,
no.
Have you ever had a beard or anything? Like,
why would I want to cover this up?
Yeah, I can go a pretty big beard. Like after CFL season, when I don't have to like be on TV every weekend, I'll let it come in for a bit. But I've never gone just stash. I've never done it. I don't know if I could pull it off. Like especially you got like a Stuart Skinner going on there, Patty. Like it looks nice. It looks
Dusty,
really good.
Your beard, you could grow a beard, but it would probably take 16 months. This guy, he shaves once a week right before he does the TSN game. If you're ever looking like his face looks like a baby's ass when he's on TV doing the games, it's because he's just shaved and he doesn't do it again. Like basically, this is a week's growth right now.
This is 6 days. This is 6 days right here. It's not too bad.
That's awesome.
It's not too bad. But you're right. It does take a while. It does take a while.
You would not be a high selection in the Movember draft. I'll just say that.
That's true. Also great idea. Great idea.
That is a good idea.
If we've done a draft of mustaches, have we got to do that on the Nielsen show? I gotta write that down. That's got to happen this month. We must have done it. Anyway, I'll look into that. Hey, Sunday. We haven't got to our best bets yet, but tell us what you're thinking, Pat. What do you like this week?
So I usually try whenever I come on this week, for this show weekly, try to keep it just maybe one or two. And I'll be honest, there's really only one or two that I do really like. I think this is a tough board this week.
I agree.
There are a lot of tricky lines, but the one that I really like is the Bengals -7. And
okay.
I know you could probably think like, did you not watch the Bengals last week? They got absolutely throttled by the Browns, but Joe Burrow has been one of the best bounce back quarterbacks since he's come into the league. He's 12-4 against the spread after a loss. And only 9 times in his career has his offense put up 20 points. The following week after those games, he's 8-1 against the spread. This guy is a bounce back player. I think they need a bounce back spot. And not to mention, they're playing a very, very bad football team in the Panthers. I know their O-line is not very good, but the Panthers have the 3rd least amount of sacks in the NFL. So I think Burrow is going to come out clean this game.
Good point.
I think he's going to put on a show. And I think there's a lot of pressure on them because we thought, the Bengals are back. And then last week, you put up an absolute, just a stinker against a division rival. And we do know Burrow obviously has struggled against the Browns in his career. What now? 0-4, 0-5?
0-4.
Yeah, 0-4 now. He's 0-3 coming into the game. But after those games as well, he's covered the spread after every single loss to the Browns. And just another stat while we're on this, pretty wild to think. Since he's come into the league, he is the most profitable quarterback against the spread. 29-14 against the spread. And in the last 15 games, he's covered 12 of them. So money-making machine is Joe Burrow.
That's interesting. I guess, coming in as the number 1 pick for a terrible team, they had some big numbers and, covered them. But listen, they went to the Super Bowl last year. Although I have to say, guys, and I don't know whether we talked about this on Tuesday, Dusty, but that Monday nighter, that Browns-Bengals rivalry gives me the feels of the Niners-Rams, where it doesn't really matter what's happening between the two teams.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback for Cleveland. They're going to come up big and they're going to somehow win. I'm sure that changes at some point soon, but that was an emphatic beatdown in the dog pound. And keeping them in the mix, and Deshaun Watson's going to be back in a few weeks.
I know that one's, and I think that's why the Bengals are feeling the heat. They recognize that maybe the Ravens aren't quite what we've expected. The Browns are starting to heat up. Deshaun Watson's coming back. So this is an opportunity with a much inferior opponent that they have to take advantage against. So I'm going with a bounce back for Joe Burrow. The other game I like, and maybe this is me, eating the cheese here, and this is a rat line, but Seahawks +2 just doesn't make sense. I think the Seahawks are the better team. I am now starting to believe that the Seahawks might be just a solid football team. They're 5th in the NFL in yards per game. And I think just this line's wrong. I'm probably going to take them on the money line at +109. I just love the way this team's shaping up. Their defense is getting better. And Kenneth Walker, man, I have been hammering all his props, and especially his touchdown props. And last week was an absolute sweat. He didn't score that touchdown until late in the fourth quarter, where he broke about 40 tackles to get in the end zone, and then he finally catch it. I also had a 3-player anytime touchdown prop that was relying on that one as well. So that was an even more special cash for me. So maybe I'm just falling into the narrative of Geno Smith and them getting rid of Russell Wilson. Like, maybe I'm buying to this, but I think Seattle might be a pretty decent team. And I honestly think Arizona stinks. They're not a good football team to me. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is on his last days coaching for that football team.
Well, I'll just say this. We're going to get to the Seahawks a little bit more as we work our way through our best bets. So, Patty, we appreciate the time, buddy. You keep that stash going, and we'll catch up again, man.
Who's on the pick parlay this weekend? Have you decided?
I haven't stepped in the lab just yet, fellas. Don't worry. I'll give you a little heads up before. Okay.
All right. See you later, man. There you go. That is Pat Gregoire. Somebody hopped into the comment section and said, I thought you guys were talking to Stu Skinner. I actually thought it was him. That's that's one thing I'm a little jealous of. Like, I've never gone crazy and tried it. Because I don't think I look good with a stash anyway. But I really respect guys who can roll that thing out there like that, man. That's impressive.
You're a chin strap guy. We all know that.
Oh, enough. Enough with the chin strap guy. Come on, man. I'm trying to move past that. All right, let's so you heard it from Pat.
You have a 1 month of your show a year dedicated.
Yeah, chin strap awareness.
Chin strap awareness month. Yeah. I mean, I got to lean into that, and no one does it better than you.
All right, let's get into our Week 9 best bets. Pat was on the Bengals -7, likes the Seahawks as well. Let's slide ours in here. You know what I just realized with these new graphics? I got to have a place where we can put our current records. So maybe we'll throw those in the middle maybe in the future. I'm 16-16. I'm 500 on the nose. Huss, where are you at right now?
I'm at 20-12.
Perfect.
Right now.
Nice work, buddy. That's huge.
3-1 last week. Was 17-11 going into last week and got 3-1 and was so close to 4-0. That damn Packer backdoor cover. I was bent about that. That being said, I think that misfortune gave me a little mojo coming into this week, but it's been good. I love the fact that Patty just set up the Seahawks for us, and that is on both. And I was joking as he said this, I'm just going to say ditto or me too, because I mean, this is pretty simple when it comes down to it. The Seahawks have been one of the best stories this year. Geno Smith is playing out of his mind. They are getting huge contributions from players that either weren't in the mix last year or even some of the guys they picked with some of the draft picks from the Russell Wilson trade. And you saw that interview last week with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett afterwards, along with Geno Smith. They really are a team. And listen, I don't want to turn this into shitting on Russell Wilson because it always seems to go that way. But they are believing in each other right now, and they're a tough team to stop. And the Arizona Cardinals are frankly the exact opposite of that. They're a Jekyll and Hyde team that at one point looks great, another point looks terrible. And even when they are playing somewhat half decently, they can't get out of their own way. And I give you Exhibit A last Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings, where they did get back into that game. They stopped the Vikings. They were down 2 points in the fourth quarter. They force a punt. And what do? They bang into each other, blow the fumble. The Vikings get the ball there. Boom, touchdown, and the game is essentially over. So I was talking to a couple Cardinal fans last night, actually, after the hockey game. And I mean, I think the patience for Cliff Kingsbury has completely worn out right now. And my God, if you've seen Kyler Murray's body language in some of these games too, you think that might be the same case for the quarterback. So I've got a hard time laying points with Arizona against anyone, regardless of where this is. And I think we're getting another statement game from the Seahawks. So give me the Seahawks +2 in that one, Dusty.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks have not just won their last 3 games. They've won them by at least 10 points or more. Like they're not squeaking by here. And the Seahawks defense in these last 3 games has been the best in the National Football League. In the last 3 games, DVOA, best defense in the league in the last 3 games. We know their offense has already been pretty good the entire year. So
which is crazy.
The Seahawks might be getting better here. Right? Like this isn't a Seahawks are falling off at some point. This is a Seahawks are kind of ramping it up. Last game against the Cardinals, if you recall, the Cards scored a touchdown on their first possession and then literally didn't do anything the rest of the game and lost 19-9 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever it was to the Seahawks. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting sucked in here at Seahawks +2. Like the Cards are brutal at home on top of all of it. Like every trend you look at, and I could lay out a shitload of trends for you here on this. Every trend you look at is saying that this should be the Seahawks in this game. Cardinals at home, Kingsbury at home as a favorite. Like, I don't know. I mean, is this the game where the Cards figure it out? I think the Seahawks deserve better than that.
trends are all nice, but I mean, at a certain point, you have to go back and look at the personnel and the talent on both sides of the ball, the coaching, the game plans, all of these things. Seattle has been excelling. Arizona has been failing. Now, hey, there's a reason why this is unpredictable. And I mean, again, we're talking about a 2-point line. This could go either way. But in a game that's this close and such a toss-up, I'm going to take the team that has looked better, that seems better, is trending in the right direction, and has a lot of positive momentum as opposed to what we've got with the home team in the desert.
All right, so we're both on the Seahawks +2. We're going head-to-head Detroit, Green Bay at 3.5. Let's go there next, Huss.
All right, you want to start off why you like the Packers?
Well, look, because we never get any better. I mean, as a Detroit Lions fan, I'll throw it out to you right now. I have watched Rodgers beat down my team for a freaking decade. Okay, so I really can't expect anything more. But a couple of legitimate reasons to lay this out here. The Detroit Lions, as fun and cute as they were at the beginning of the year, in their last 3 games, they've been outscored 84-33. Okay, and 2 of those games were on the road. On the road, they're awful. At home, they're not bad. But in the last 3 games, the offense, with the exception of like a half of their last game, the offense has not been there. The defense, the rushing defense is second last in the league. The passing defense is dead last in the league. And, you know, I know they covered. They certainly weren't going to beat the Bills. But Green Bay looked a little bit better last week against Buffalo than they had prior to that. So if Aaron Rodgers, in one of his most difficult seasons ever, was going to have a get-right game, it's going to come against a Detroit team that is essentially the worst defense in the National Football League. So on top of all of it, I know he's going to crush us because he always does. I'm going to go on Green Bay here -3.5.
Okay, listen, I do believe you're suffering, and justifiably so, from long-term Lions PTSD. The Packers are one of the worst teams in the league right now. Like, it said everything about Detroit, and I get it, and you're 100% right. The defense is absolutely embarrassing. But let's not forget that this is a team that, okay, they did put up a touchdown in garbage time. They had 10 against the Bills. At 21 against the Commanders. They put up 10 at home against the New York Jets and 22 in that international game against the New York Giants. I mean, Aaron Jones, excellent. A.J. Dillon, I'm sure, will get into the mix. But, I mean, the passing game right now for the Packers, like Aaron Rodgers is borderline unstartable right now in fantasy. Like, who could have possibly imagined that happening? Now, here's the thing. I absolutely think that the Detroit Lions are fully capable of finding a way to lose this game. In fact, many different ways of losing this game. However, I'm not sure the Green Bay Packers are good enough offensively right now to be covering 4 points on the road. Like, to me, the Packers should not be favored by this much against just about anybody right now with the way things are going. So the Lions at home, you know this is a huge game for them. I mean, once in a while, like in these lost seasons for Detroit, they step up and have great performances a couple times against some division rivals. I think considering the way the last few weeks, this will be that certainly will be the marching orders or the call from Dan Campbell. And I think that they can keep this one close. The fact that we're getting the hook as well, the 3.5.
That scares me a bit. That's true.
These teams both suck. Neither of them should be blowing either one of them out. I think it'll be a close game. So I'm taking the underdog in the 3.5 points. That's basically what it comes down to.
If I have to deal with a loss this week, this would be the one I would take. I've seen it too many times. I'm worried about it. I think that if they wanted, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon could run all over these guys. But with that being said, if they do decide to try to keep it on the ground, that would help Detroit's case of covering this 3.5. So, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. All right, we got a couple other games for you as well. Huss, where else are you going here? Oh, the Commanders. Left hand up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The left hand has been up pretty much for the last few weeks with our boy Taylor Heineke now as the quarterback, moving on from Carson Wentz. And what can we say? 3 straight wins? I mean, nothing particularly, listen, the Bears win on the Thursday nighter was the ugliest win, or one of the ugliest wins we've seen this season. The Packers win was huge, though. And the way he came back against the Colts last week on the road was phenomenal. And now they get the Vikings at home. And listen, the Vikings are clearly one of the better teams in the NFC right now. There is a lot of people that still don't believe in their record. But let me say this about the Vikes. They are coming around, and they're actually a team that I think, will be very competitive come playoff time. That being said, they still have a tough time putting teams away. Like we were talking about the Cardinals before. To me, they got really lucky last week. They could have put that game away far earlier. Arizona came right back into it.
Yeah.
This is a home game. And if it wasn't for that muffed punt late in the game, basically Kyler Murray needs to go 40 yards or so for a game-winning field goal. So I just think that there's the potential for a little bit of a letdown in this game. Now, the Commanders' pass defense does concern me. There's no doubt about it. And now with TJ Hawkinson being added into the mix for the Vikings, I think that they are only going to be more deadly offensively, but that might take a few days to really work him in. Much like Christian McCaffrey, I'm not sure it's the first week that you'll see the benefits of him. It's probably week 2, 3, and 4 going forward. But the other side of the thing is the Washington Commanders right now under Ron Rivera, having won 3 in a row, are right back in the thick of things. And I mean, they are just a tough out. They are not going to quit. They're not going to go anywhere. And even if the Vikings are up in the fourth quarter, much like we saw against Indy, I think that they've got what it takes to come back in games. We're going to see them getting a little bit healthier right now, which is important. I think Dotson's going to play, which would be nice for Tyler Heineke to finally have the rookie in there as well as Terry McLaurin. And the other thing you can tell about this game is what's happened with the line. So 2 days ago, or about a day and a half ago, the 3.5 number was minus 118 for Washington. Then it was minus 111. Right now, 3.5 is actually minus 123. And the number that is up right now is 3. So the 3.5 number, I think, was a huge advantage if you could get it. And again, you can get it right now. You just have to pay a little bit more. I got it at a good time a little earlier in the week. And as I said, I'm in on the Commanders right now. I think they've got a lot of positive momentum right now. And even if the Vikings get up early, I could see them coming back in and, hanging around or getting in the back door. So the 3.5, the half point was crucial. I do think this will be a close game. Give me the Commanders, left hand up. And my other game is the Chiefs.
This is interesting.
Exactly. This might surprise you because I often usually stay away from the Chiefs games. And the history of the Chiefs in Tennessee is ugly. Like Tennessee in the playoffs in the regular season has had some big upsets against Andy Reid and Kansas City. However, this is a different team, a different time. The one thing that never changes is Andy Reid kills teams coming out of the bye. And the Chiefs had that week to get arrested. Kadarius Toney worked in a little bit more. And the bottom line is they're coming off a performance against the San Francisco 49ers where they would have clowned any team in the National Football League with the exception of the Bills and maybe the Eagles the way they played. If they keep going like this, there is nothing that Tennessee is going to be able to do to stop it unless they can run Derrick Henry for 3.5 yards a carry and take 40 minutes off the clock and limit Mahomes to just a few possessions. I think the Chiefs roll in this game. And then the other thing is the Tennessee quarterback situation. I mean, they won last week against the Texans by essentially doing exactly what I just mentioned, handing it off to Derrick Henry over and over and over again. Malik Willis, the rookie quarterback, only threw the ball 10 times, was not a factor whatsoever. And even if Tannehill comes back, I don't think he'll be 100%. And to be honest, the Titans, they've won 5 in a row after losing 2. But I don't know if you've kind of taken a look at seeing who they've played so far. For everyone getting a little carried away on Titans as the hottest team, here are the teams that they've beat. The Raiders by 2, the Colts, the Commanders, the Colts, and the Texans. I mean, they have literally run through the JV area of the school right now. They're moving up to play the seniors, and I don't think it's going to go well for Tennessee. Give me the Chiefs minus 11.5.
I was very interested when you sent me your picks last night. I was like, oh, Huss is on the Chiefs, especially the big number. Usually you're a guy who likes the dogs in a bigger game, and you usually stay away from the Chiefs. I think you justify it very well, though. I mean, there's a few things that point in the direction of the Chiefs cruising in this game. The other two games I've got, I should never go back to the Raiders after what they did to me last week.
Wow.
But I am.
I just noticed that.
I know. I am. I swear, last week, getting shut out, I was like, that's it, I'm done with the Raiders. And this week, there's two games I really like this. Well, the one game I love, the Seattle game, I'm like, what's going on with this number? This is not let me clarify here. This is not a pro Raiders pick. This is a straight up fading of the Jags, okay? Nice little cute start to the season for Jacksonville. Since then, they have lost 5 in a row. They've given up 6 rushing touchdowns in their last 5 games. They're giving up about 135 yards per game on the ground in their last 5 games. They scored less than 20 in 3 of their last 4. And on top of that, they're coming back from overseas and didn't take the bye week. So far, this season, I think maybe the last 2 years, teams overseas coming back home, opponents, team total, 7-2 over. These teams coming back defensively, they can't get it done. There's a couple of ways here for the Raiders to have success. You want to just run the ball with Josh Jacobs? You can run it down the Jags' throat. You want to throw the ball and get Devontae Adams back on track after just a god-awful week last week. You can do that against the Jags too. Imagine
Come
with
on down to
Jacksonville. The way everything has gone for the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson this season. He put together a game-winning drive against the Jags defense last week. Think about that for a second. If Russell Wilson can do it, the Raiders can do it. So I might sit here Sunday being like, the Raiders have done it to me again. But they're playing the Jags. The Jags who've come back down to earth. So I'm going to take the Raiders. It's only 1.5. I mean, this is essentially almost a pick 'em. So I'm on Vegas here, minus 1.5, buddy. That's
well, and I'll tell you what, this is the Raiders season. I mean, they had that absolute no-show last week in New Orleans. They get the Jags. If they don't win this game, like apparently there was Hacksaw Hamilton was on with us yesterday on Winnipeg Sports Talk and said Mark Davis had like a closed door 40-minute meeting with Josh McDaniels after the game last week.
Oof.
I mean, he could be in Nathaniel Hackett territory right on. How about those AFC West coaching hires? Wow. But yeah, and I mean, if they win this game, as crazy as this sounds, they've had their bye, they'd get to 3-5. They're right back in the middle of the playoff race in the AFC. Remember, we thought the AFC was going to be so great? It's not.
It's not.
You've got the Bills, the Chiefs, the Titans, and the Ravens are your division winners. And you've got 2 5-win teams. One is the Jets. They've got a tough schedule coming up. One is Miami, legitimately good. The Bengals are a 4-win team, and the Chargers are 4-3. I mean, they are still, and with the 17th game, if they can win this game and get on a bit of a roll, they can absolutely contend for a wild card. If they lose, stick a fork in them, they're done. I didn't have the balls to take them, but I would expect them to win. They should win. And if they don't, as a Chiefs fan, I'll laugh my head off. But it's time for the rubber to hit the road in Vegas because last week was an embarrassment. What about the Pats?
I'm on the Pats here, 4.5 against the Colts team. You know what? Ellinger didn't look awful last week, but he also wasn't playing the Patriots defense. Top 5 in the league in sacks, top 5 in the league in interceptions. They're going up against a Colts team that has an offensive line that's just atrocious. I mean, they can't run the ball, whether it's with Jonathan Taylor or not. Jonathan Taylor was not at practice today. He's not going to be playing. They traded Naheem Hines. I know Deion Jackson had that one really nice game, but I'd be stunned if he's able to do it again, considering the way that the Patriots are probably going to approach this. Think about this. This kind of ties into the Jags, too. In the last 4 games for the Colts, they scored 34 on the Jags. Okay, remember, storm back, whatever. Outside of that, they're averaging 12.3 points per game in the other 3 games. This is an offense that cannot score the football. And now they're going up against the Patriots defense, which is top 5 in a bunch of different categories defensively. So as long as Mac Jones doesn't gift them like 14 points off turnovers, I think New England's going to cruise in this football game. So I'm going to take Bill Belichick also. Here's a stat. Where is it? Bill Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks. This seems fair, doesn't it? Bill Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks, 10-4 against the spread. Spread sit at 4.5. And this is not a rookie quarterback who's got a great team around him right now. So I'm on New England, probably take it all the way up to 6.5, to be honest with you. I like it at 4.5, and that'll round out my best bets for the week.
Well, interesting week. I mean, we do have some pretty significant buys this week. So it was a little bit harder I think, to dig in and settle on 4 games, but I think we got them. And hopefully we can get a few winners tomorrow with the parlay and prop show after a pretty good Saturday last weekend.
Yeah, we'll be banging that episode out probably right around the same time as usual, 11 o'clock Mountain, noon Central Time on Saturday. And, yeah, we'll get that partner parlay. I mean, do we double down or triple down the Seahawks here, Huss? Do we take a money line or something, or do we try to avoid it just in case?
That has blown up in our face.
I know.
I don't know.
That's why I'm like,
sleep on that.
I don't know.
By the way, just a quick little note coming out of Wednesday's show, CFL playoffs are, by the way, you're going to be calling a great game in BC this weekend. I think that's going to be a awesome crowd. Lots going on. They're doing a great job. Both lines have dropped. They opened up at 3. BC now a 1.5 point favorite as opposed to the 3 with Calgary. We were both on Calgary 3. And Montreal, I had to bet them 3 to cover for our picks on Wednesday. That's actually now down to 1.5. Ticats at plus 1.5. So you, my friend, have had some nice line movement on both of your picks so far with those lines moving down. And of course, we're all over NFL Sunday, but you got to have a TV on TSN on the CFL on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be great. And
best football game you're going to see is probably the Stampeders Lions. I'm telling you,
I'm with you.
I think it's going to be great.
I just wish I could have a side camera on you for like halftime to watch you like checking the NFL scores based on what's happening with your reaction as to whether the bets are going well or not so well. That would be a great side broadcast. I could commentate on that.
One day, that's where we'll get with the Manning Cast. On one channel, I'm calling the game. On the other channel, it's just a video of me calling the game, knowing what I've bet on all the other games that day. That would be fun. We'll see how that one.
I could actually do that commentary, following you, feeding you information, and going up, and then of course your little references to the totals and the overs. It should be great. Anyways, that's going to be an awesome Sunday coming up in the CFL. Don't miss it. Both lines down to 1.5 right now at Coolbet.
And we will talk to you on Saturday, getting ready for our props and parlays episode. Huss, talk to you then, bud.
Later, guys.